Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to be analysing the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available for today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Right, starting off on the daily, we have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom here. What's the daily showing us? Okay, well yesterday we closed out as a bullish doji, again sort of a low test, right? You can see that clearly we've taken some sell side liquidity which ultimately made us finish just about in a bullish position. Now if I analyze this along with the previous day on Monday, which was a high test after all of this bullish momentum, this to me shows sort of more deceleration, right? Because that bullish momentum has kind of died off, right? We took buy side liquidity, clearly had a bearish run yesterday, and then the sell side liquidity from there made us pull back, but we haven't gone anywhere from this area. So on the daily time frame, I still see this as a possible top forming slash resistance, right, after taking this previous weekly high and external high buy side liquidity. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, you can see right now with this live candle, we've swept the previous daily high now for buy side liquidity already, maybe overnight or early this morning, and we're bearish at the moment. At least we haven't moved significantly just yet, but we're bearish at the moment. As I mentioned in previous videos, we do have this imbalance here that may be a draw on price. We have another imbalance below, but either way, just immediately we have this imbalance after taking that external buy side liquidity, which is important, and that bullish momentum has slowed down and died off. So, and then as recently as today, we've taken the buy side liquidity from some internal highs. Just have a quick look at DXY, right, which is our inverse. We've done the same. We've taken previous daily lows. The candle is still bearish. Obviously they have different times of opening. We've taken that previous daily low internal sell side liquidity, so we'll see what that's going to do to price. We have the same price draw above here as well for that imbalance. So I think that's enough said with the daily. Let's go down to the 4 hour and see what that shows us. Okay, on the 4 hour, just to have a look quickly at Monday price action again, where we've taken the external buy side liquidity here. We created these, what they call them, tweezer tops, double tops, whatever you want to call them, but they are, high test sort of sweep doji candles. Had that bearish move from there over Monday and yesterday, and then overnight, of course, and into the evening New York session, we pulled back. Now this morning's price action and overnight, you can see we've come above the highs of this candle here. We have closed out, just taking the buy side liquidity from there at the moment, right? Of course, we even have another hour and 50 minutes of this current 4 hour candle, but again, you could say these are like double tops again, or whatever they call them, tweezer tops, taking the buy side liquidity above that previous daily high. So given the storyline of this external buy side liquidity, of course, we've not been incredibly bearish from there. Price looks to be possibly forming some sort of consolidation at these highs here after taking this buy side liquidity. Obviously current day we have taken buy side liquidity as well so far. So of course my initial thoughts are bearish price action, right? We're in a bullish leg, we're in the premium. I would be thinking after taking this buy side liquidity, we have a good chance of going bearish. Now we do have an imbalance here. Price could even be drawn just short term into this area here, but ultimately the discount's going to be a bit further down towards this area here. Just have a quick look at DXY. We are pulled back to within this 4 hour imbalance here, right? We have filled that imbalance there with this 4 hour line here. Obviously we've gone below the previous daily low, which was there as well as sell side liquidity, right? Then going into this confluence here. So it may provide support, right? Just as this buy side liquidity may provide that resistance that we need in order to go short. Again, price hasn't moved too much today, so we'll see more of that on the lower time frame. So I hope that's clear. Price is still creating a bearish bias for me. We are very much in that premium. Like I said, we have taken buy side liquidity externally and internally now today, but no rush. Of course, we'll still be looking for that lower time frame structure to play out that bearish move if it happens, or we'll look for the longs. Okay, so it's just because of where we are in price. We've most recently taken buy side liquidity, of course, here. So I would be looking for those longs, just avoiding any negatives that may push price higher. So let's go down to the hourly and see what that's showing us, see if it agrees with the bias. So onto the hourly picture, which has been mixed of late, right? Again at the top here, took buy side liquidity, broke down, we pulled back, broke down again, right? And then mitigated this 1 hour POI, which I was looking for longs, but that was very late in the day. Price pulled back up very correctively to our 1 hour order block here, but with the Asia range and overnight, it has gone above that and taken the buy side liquidity, as we can see on the higher time frames, from above this high, which is the previous daily high. There is still a 1 hour imbalance just above here, which price has kind of just about spiked into, but it may want to mitigate first. Let's draw that out. Just an extra confluence there to see if that provides resistance and helps with a bias. Now, as I said, this was very corrective. You can see this sort of range into Asia here. It looks like we've taken the sell side liquidity below this low here, and that's given us this bullish push. So we'll see how that plays out, right? This is a fresh hour, only 15 minutes in. This 1 hour structure for me is still bullish. We've got that high, high, low, high, high ultimately up here. It's a bit more confusing with a gap, but low, then high, high, low, you could say here, and possibly high, high. But the internal price action looked like it was possibly switching short there. We'll just have to see what price does around this area, like I've been mentioning. At the moment, DXY is looking quite bearish. You can see there's a lot of bearish momentum in this candle here. Right, we are at that 4 hour imbalance slash maybe order block, but where it initially looks like we were breaking out bullish now, we've pulled back and then now continued bearish. So I don't see much in the way of POI here, you know, or something to mitigate to send price higher, right, for a bearish EU. So I'm cautious with that bearish EU bias. However, this may continue and take the sell side liquidity below these lows. Now that of course would be a great driver for bearish price action. We'll just see how far EU goes, right? EU may just stick around this area, and we have our SMC divergence, sell side liquidity sponsorship from DXY. Now that's me looking into possible future scenario. It may or may not play out. They both might come for these highs and lows, which again is also fine. That's more buy side liquidity and more sell side liquidity, and that may give us that counter trend movement. The reason why I'm looking at counter trend is because I don't have a POI or something to go from right now for longs on this high time frame. I did want it around here, so I don't want to trade long into possible resistances and into buy side liquidity that may turn price against me. So that's just my thinking there, just to let you know why I'm looking at such counter trend based trades. If something does plan out where it looks like we can go long, then of course I will switch that bias. I think that's enough said. Leaning towards that bearish bias possibly from around this area. However, it's counter trend and price may be looking fairly bearish at the moment, though we are still at this 4 hour POI on DXY. So let's go down to the M15, see what that structure is showing us, and see what opportunities may be available for today. So on the M15 here, I'm actually kind of liking this EU price action for shorts, if I'm honest. With this 1 hour imbalance confluence just above as well, which may need to be mitigated more, we've created these sort of three highs here, right? So we've got our Asia range highs, which will serve as some possible buy side liquidity. Now we already just about swept the low. That obviously gave us that momentum, that drive to head towards the other side of Asia, right? So we may come up here to collect this buy side liquidity above this, right? So have that X there, we come up, collect that buy side liquidity. On DXY, we're already well below that range, right? It's very corrective, and you know, we're well below those lows. Price has created this sort of trend line, right? We have these lows here to come and get the sell side liquidity from. In terms of why I like it for the shorts, just because we have the POI here, you know, which is only partially mitigated, just barely. We have buy side liquidity internally here with this Asia range, okay? So what I would like to see is price to come up, take that Asia range, right, buy side liquidity, sweep it, close out as like a nice high test would be good. All right, we've mitigated also this POI now mostly, and then break down, you know, break a structure here below these lows, and then we get a nice pullback on the lower time frame to an order block with imbalance to continue short from, right? So that's what I see. It looks like it's engineered a range here with some highs that could be manipulated. So we'd get our break of structure around this point, possible inducement from the pullback somewhere around here, order block with imbalance somewhere here. So we can set our order for short, stop loss just above those highs, right? To aim for wherever you aim for. So it could look something like this, okay? And then if that happens, we would want to see, of course, DXY to do the same, make that higher high, pull back to the order block to continue higher, to come for this trend line here. That for me would look good, would look executable. I would have loved maybe some structure here to break down early and get involved. So if that happens, that would be great. You know, if price forms a structure here, maybe a minor pullback to this area here, so we have a low to break of structure a bit more earlier, let's say up here, that would look good. But either way, a nice M15 break of structure down here would be very favorable for me, so I'm not going to complain if it does that either. Again, like I said, I don't see longs around this area because we'd have taken buy side liquidity and we're so near the highs and in the premium, all right, and we'd be mitigating this 1 hour imbalance as well. So I don't see longs at the moment for personally how I trade. Now price is yet to make that sort of order block imbalance type price action, but it may come on the 5 minute, right? We may see something better here. Let's say price just sweeps this internal high here now and breaks down, that would also be fine. Okay, so if we break down from here, leaving some sort of order block, that's also valid for me as well. So I'll keep a lookout for that. I think this range here is nice to take buy side liquidity from and break down, right? Because if we break down from here, then it starts to look better for us to go short. So that's everything from me. I hope you got value from that. I hope it was clear. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.